that she knew somebody, that she knows somebody who just last week told her that they just learned that they're not supposed to say the word nigger.
Sheesh.
Sit tight. It's a pastor.
Wow.
You feel me?
Wow.
So.
And they were serious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah. And that was one of like 3 different stories she told me within 10 minutes of similar. You follow me? That's a white pastor. So we need white pastors to say that, though. That's my point.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah.
If you really didn't know,
yeah,
that's all right.
Yeah.
I don't understand why you didn't know. That's not my job. What? That's not.
Let's start there.
I got
though.
one job.
Let's get the people what they want. The Wade-O Radio Show.
What do you think the dialogue needs to be in the church to kind of help get people mobilized into doing this? Because right now, I feel like, unfortunately, it's still a lot of African Americans within the church. Now, when you go to the marches and the rallies and the protests and stuff, you literally see people of all races. But for me, it's been a little frustrating to see. I'm not gonna say there's no one that's not African American that's not trying to in the church that's not trying to do some things.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying just to see more of the masses in the church care about these issues, because we have such an important voice, and together as a body, unify us, a lot of power in that.
Yeah. So the original question was what?
Just how do we get people mobilized? What's that conversation need to be like? How do we get the right people to the table, man?
Yeah, I think that I think that there's a prerequisite to mobilization. And I think the prerequisite is conversation. Because part of why, we're not mobilized is because there's no fire in our bosom.
To care enough about it, right?
We don't to care enough about it. If you watch a team, like basketball team or any kind of team, if you watching them play, and we can see from where we sit when they start to look lethargic. Yeah. You know what I mean? Apathy, like, oh, Brian losing steam. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then they go into the locker room or they do a timeout. You know what I'm saying? And coach got to bring them all. He got to fire them up.
So we need a huddle.
He got to fire them up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And they come back out. You know what I'm saying? And all the pieces. You know what I'm saying?
That's such a good analogy, though.
That's what we need in the church. There has to be first we have to get people into the elephant room.
Sure.
We got to get our leaders in the elephant room to say, listen, I'm white. I'm white. I don't understand your culture. I was just talking to him who told me that she knew somebody, that she knows somebody who just last week told her that they just learned that they're not supposed to say the word nigger.
Sheesh.
Sit tight. It's a pastor.
Wow.
You feel me?
Wow.
So.
And they were serious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah. And that was one of like 3 different stories she told me within 10 minutes of similar. You follow me? That's a white pastor. So we need white pastors to say that, though. That's my point.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah.
If you really didn't know, that's all right.
Yeah.
I don't understand why you didn't know. That's not my job. What? That's not.
Let's start there.
I got one job. That's not my job right now. But if you genuinely did not know, if it's really ignorance, because we know through the 3 things that are fueling all of this is hatred, fear, and ignorance.
Right.
So we can't dismiss the fact that we are dealing with a lot of ignorance. People who have lived insulated lives, so disconnected and so disengaged in their whatever part of the world they're from, that they can't understand why in the world with all the hoopla is about. They don't get it.
Yeah.
You follow me?
Yep.
So the first thing that we absolutely have to do is get that man that pastor
Sure.
and another pastor and the Middle Eastern pastor and this pastor. We got to get them in the room,
Yep.
and we got to have the conversation, and we got to put it on Facebook Live, because this is, you follow me, and we have to inspire that. Let's rally up the pastors from each city to sit in the room together. Just take one day. That's it. It's going to take a day.
Yeah.
just to like not even scratch the surface.
Yeah.
But it's a start. Let's just do all we need. All we need is a day. Block out a day. Y'all
But
pastors,
you know what,
y'all
though?
full time.
But so you know what though? You said the city. A lot of them pastors ain't in the city. You know what I mean?
Well,
They're
I'm just saying.
No, but
Rally up
in
the
the area,
pastors
in the region,
in the region,
in the region.
Rally them up.
Yep.
If you are 1 degree separation away from them,
Grab
connect
them.
with the person that you
Yep.
know that knows them,
Yep.
and let, appeal to them.
Yeah.
You follow me? Because
Yeah.
to me, that conversation has to start with our leadership.
Yep.
Because what leadership does in moderation, fellowship does in excess.
That right there.
You
That'll
feel me?
preach right there.
So as we're watching them, that's why I said it's got to go Facebook Live. It's got to be Periscope. It's got to be social media driven, so people can
see
so
it.
they can set the
Yeah.
precedent for what the rest of us need to do.
Yeah, that'd be killer, bro.
You
That would be killer.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That conversation has to be had, starting with what are the issues here?
Yeah.
You follow me? Have we neglected to really address the issues and kind of used it's just sin as a scapegoat? You follow me? Starting with the topsoil, because to me that's still a branch. It's still the topsoil. The racism itself, the prejudice itself, still the topsoil. And then working your way down to the root, which is, again, hatred, fear, ignorance, and then ultimately sin.
You know, one of the challenges, and one of the challenges that we have in the church, we don't like being in spaces a lot of times with people who are outside of our denomination or outside of our theology spheres, because it makes us uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I think like someone such as yourself, even myself, that listens and appreciates pastors that may be on different sides of the theological spectrum, it's easier for us to say, man, let's get all those different people in the room. But it's like, yo, the Baptists may not want to rock with the Methodists, who may not want to rock with the Kojic, who may not want to rock with the Southern Baptists, who may not want to rock with the, whatever the case may be. And so you have those challenges as well,
So to me, the first thing I'm going to say is
this got to be bigger than that.
Let persecution continue to squeeze us.
Yeah.
We're going to throw all that away.
Soon.
Let them keep persecuting. Yeah. North Carolina is being persecuted.
Yeah.
And that's not even the church.
Yeah. Yep.
North Carolina is being persecuted socially.
Yep.
You follow me?
Yep.
Financially, economically, persecuted, punished, penalized.
Yep.
Right? So it's only a matter of time, but within the next 5 to 10 years, that we will either be in the same space as or relatively close to what's going on in China.
Yeah.
Where you got to run underground. The beauty of that is that the church is exploding in China. Yeah. Even though they got to run underground and do it in secret. You follow me? It's exploding because that's what persecution does. It generates authentic faith. Right? All right. So the first thing I'll say is, as we continue to feel the squeeze, we will throw all of it. We're going to take some concessions on our theological, orientations. Sure. You feel me? And preferences.
Sure.
And denominational preferences and orientations. We're going to throw all that away. Hopefully it doesn't take that. Hopefully, like you said, we're bigger than that.
Yeah.
We
should be.
We should be.
We should be.
Didn't Jesus rebuke the 12 when they said, yo, look at this 70. What are these 70 guys?
Yep.
Look at these guys over here. These other guys, they call themselves disciples. Look what they're doing.
Yep.
What did Jesus say? He challenged Peter and said, as long as their names are written in the Lamb's Book of Life, keep your mouth off of them. You follow what I'm saying?
That's it.
If we can find the common ground and the commonality and the fact that they too are written in the Lamb's Book of Life, that is our common ground.
Yep.
The thing that made the West Coast in hip-hop and the East Coast in hip-hop reconcile was something that they found in common, which was bread, money. What made two, you follow me,
Yeah.
diametrically opposed?
Yeah, and that was serious. People was dying.
That was real. That
Like,
was
people was
real
dying.
beef. That, you feel me?
People was dying.
That was gang banging.
Yeah.
Like we was, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So, but what brought them together though?
Yeah.
You follow me?
Yeah, they had a common cause.
They had a common cause, a common goal, right? And so if the church can at least find the commonality that Jesus says, forget all the other stuff.
Yep.
Are their names written in the Lamb's Book of Life? If the answer is yes, we got a common place where we can meet.
That's it.
You follow me?
You just made me think of Jay and Nas when they got back together. That money.
You feel me?
That money.
That bread. That bread, boy. You know what I'm saying? So you're so right.
Yeah.
But see, that's why I'm also, one of the other things I'm saying is that the issue is not, that's why I'm saying, the issue is not racism.
Yeah.
Think about the challenge that just surfaced, right? Like, because the moment you start talking about what it will take to affect change, naturally your mind begins to process the obstacles to that change.
Yeah, it's true. You're right.
Which is why one of the things that comes up is, yeah, but at first you're like, whoo, that sounds like a plan.
Killer.
Then you're like, that's a plan. Then you start thinking like, oh shoot. But naturally your mind begins to process the hindrances to that goal. You follow me? And so the hindrances that you just cited, the fact that you even brought those up helps us all to understand the issue is bigger than racism.
Yeah.
Really, racism is just a branch. The issue is prejudice.
Yeah. Wow.
It's prejudice. Prejudice based on light skin, dark skin. Prejudice based on economic and social standings. Prejudice based on denominational affiliations.
Right.
Prejudice based on 116. You know what I'm saying? We live as kings.
Yeah.
It's based on people. The problem, our biggest problem is it's not racism. That's just a branch. It's really prejudice.
Prejudice.
You follow me? Why in Peru will a mother tell their daughter, don't marry a dark-skinned man?
Wow.
All y'all the same nationality.
I didn't even know it popped off like that.
Yeah.
Dog. Wow.
Don't marry a dark-skinned man.
Wow.
You follow me? That has nothing to do. Listen, the other day I was in a restaurant with wifey. Two young ladies from different ethnic background were talking amongst themselves, and they were speaking in the native tongue. And it drove me crazy. I was just like, it was getting under my skin so bad. Like, I was so annoyed. Like, I started feeling like I don't like them. Like, I don't know nothing about. They were just. It was just gnawing at their native tongue for an hour straight was driving me crazy. I don't have 400 years of history with them. Yeah. You feel me? They have neither them or their race has ever done anything to me.
Wow. And you was mad.
And I was mad.
Yeah.
You follow me? When Chinese stores first started opening, what was the first thing that happened? You started reading in the paper. Chinese people were getting their guns and running black people out of there. They started throwing up them windows, them plexiglass windows, to keep, bulletproof.
Yeah, the bulletproof,
in their stores.
Yeah, all them Chinese joints in the hood.
What were we doing? We weren't just robbing them. We were going in and we were teasing them. We were teasing their eyes. Wow. We were teasing them for how they spoke.
Sure.
Ain't no 400 years of history there.
Right.
The issue is not racism.
That's deep.
That's a big issue.
Yeah.
That's not the systemic issue.
Yeah. Wow.
You feel me? Prejudice is the problem.
Wow.
We don't have a history with Asians that would make us bitter towards them.
Nah.
Yet, we took the moment we got opportunity, the moment their difference, which to me this is the fruit of the Tower of Babel. Because we didn't have this problem prior to Babel, even with sin in the world. Even with sin in the world, the Bible says by the time we got to Babel, everybody was still so united.
Yeah, they was
united. So unified and still spoke the same language. All still had one language, and they were so unified that God in heaven looked and said, if I let them go like this, with sin as the undercurrent, they'll be unstoppable. There's nothing they won't be able to do. And then the moment that God, the Bible says, exacted judgment,
Sure.
the Bible says that their languages were scattered and they understood each other no more.
Wow.
Look at that, yo. Our issue, bro, is bigger than race, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the moment we stopped understanding each other.
Yeah.
We started fearing each other.
Yeah. So that goes back to that why question.
You feel me?
That goes back to the why. That's crazy. I'm sitting here thinking, like, even in that story, like, I could sit, if you let me, I could take pictures of the Empire. I mean, the World Trade Center every day. Like, I love that building. I go to New York. I always snap shots of it when I'm there. But you think about the building that they built back then was taller than One World Trade today, and we got all this technology. You know what I mean? But they were so united.
They were so united.
They didn't. You know what I'm saying? They didn't even have the architectural.
Nope.
You know what I mean? Stuff that we got,
Nope.
computers,
Nope.
all of that to counterbalance the weight and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But they, you know what I mean? They was together, bro.
Together, bro.
That's crazy.
And that was even after sin was in the world.
Right.
You
Right.
follow me?
Right.
You follow me?
Right.
So my deal is we're dealing with racism as a branch on the tree of prejudice. At the root is hatred. You follow me? At the root is hatred in the soil of sin.
Sure. Sure.
You follow me? And I think that we have to, when we come together, we have to talk through the issues. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have to talk. We can't skate over the real life systematic oppression that we've been facing as African Americans, as minorities in general.
Yeah.
We can't skate over that. We have to. White people and black people have to be having that conversation.
Yeah.
As heated as we might get in the conversation, it has to be had. We gotta fight about it.
Yeah.
We gotta argue. We gotta argue, bro.
Yeah.
Like, we gotta sit in a room and be mad at each other, then go take a break for 15 minutes.
Come back.
Cool off, come back and finish.
Yeah. 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 It's and I think too, it's okay for people to understand the pain that us as African Americans have felt as a result of it, because it hurts. Like, it hurts when you see a man that looks like you get killed and there's no repercussion. Nobody's arrested. Nobody's nothing. Or, you know, so you take Freddie Gray, for instance, in Baltimore. The coroner ruled his death a homicide, but you can't get anybody. There's no conviction or nothing for anybody. I'm like, well, the man didn't just kill himself. The coroner said it's a homicide. How do we, you know what I'm saying? So it's, and I'm not here to argue like the different facts of the cases, but I think people just need to understand, like, when you're in it, when you've been systematically oppressed as a people for a period of time, how that makes you feel, because that also, to your point, that's also a part of being in the huddle to get that burden. That's why sometimes in sports, they'll bring in a guest speaker to speak to a team. You know what I'm saying? To say, hey, man, let me share my experience, and hopefully this inspires you to go out here on the field and do something. You know what I'm saying? So even, you know, to my white brothers and sisters that are listening to this, and you're wondering why we talk about it so much, part of why we talk about it so much is, one, we may not, we need your help in helping to kind of change some of this stuff, because it's like we're hurting. Yeah, we hurting.
Yeah, we need for our Anglo brothers and sisters to engage,
please,
because if they're in the church, they have a responsibility. And they would not, because somebody challenged me yesterday and said, well, what about, we don't get in the fight when something happens in Syria.
Sure.
You know, when, you know, a bunch of people get bombed and, you know, there's, you know, conflict between Israelis and Pakistanis. You know, nobody from the States is, you know, writing letters about, you know what I'm saying, writing letters to their president or whomever. But here's what I said.
There's some people,
but it ain't.
Not like
the
this.
nation, by and large, doesn't feel the weight of responsibility. That was their point. Their point was, the truth of the matter is that our white brothers and sisters, don't feel the weight of it.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And so they're kind of like, that's their thing, that's their problem. The only challenge, though, with that thinking is that it's not just. I'm sorry. All right. Okay, cool. It's not just our problem, because your race plays a big part in it.
Right.
Like,
right.
it's the conflict. The reason why we're not weighing in on the Syrian, conflicts is because we're not Syrians.
Yeah.
But because we're Americans,
right, right,
and white Americans and black, the conflict, the tension, the contention has existed between these two races.
Yep.
So we wouldn't get involved with that, and we won't really expect them to get involved in this.
John Gray said something very similar on that new show they have, The Preachers. He was saying how he said my only critique. I don't know if he said critique, but he was just saying one of his issues with Black Lives Matter is that he says it's now become just a black issue to some people instead of a human issue. A
human issue. That's right.
You know what I'm saying? To some people, because of when you just look at this as, man, one of my fellow Americans.
Yes.
This is what's happening to them. Sometimes it's easier for people to engage. And so a part of me was like, he's 100% right.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, but then you strip out the systematic oppression that is really at the root of it, and is what the real root of the issue is in these cases of justice, because it's just been perpetuated. So it's like I see it on one hand, but I'm like, at some point you still got to deal with the systematic part, because otherwise it's just going to manifest itself in a different way. You know what I'm saying? And not just with the justice piece. So I get it, man. But this is why it's dialogue, bro.
Yeah, this is why it's dialogue.
This is
yeah. And this is why I'm saying that white people have to see it this way.
Yeah.
So white people have to see here's one of the challenges. It's, think about this, bro. We don't refer to white people as white Americans.
Yeah, it's true.
Right?
That's true.
We only refer to every other race as African American, or Asian American, or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, but when it comes to white people, we only refer to them as Americans.
Yep.
That's because they have positioned themselves as Americans.
Yeah.
You feel me? As they remember, they tricked us with regards to believing that they found it. You follow me? I guess I'm at that stage where I don't care no more either. But you feel what I'm saying? Yeah. No, this is important information to have. Remember, they tricked us into believing that they founded the place where we live, and positioned themselves like the founders. You follow me?
Yeah.
And you follow what I'm saying?
Called themselves the founding fathers.
Founding fathers.
Yep.
And white people historically have positioned themselves in a very superior way.
Yeah.
You follow me?
Yep.
The rest of us are immigrants.
Yep.
That's the feeling that we've got.
Yeah, that's true.
You follow me?
Yeah.
We're all immigrants,
all
with the
of
exceptions of Indians.
Yep. Yep.
Native Americans
Yep.
are the first Americans. The rest of us are immigrants.
Yep.
You follow me? Okay. So what I'm saying that to say this: if white people, I was watching that lady. She's on Facebook all the time. I forget her name, but she's a bee. She's older. She's a white lady. She fights for social justice and equality. And she was just saying, she said she's white. And yes, Jane Elliott. Oh my gosh, she's amazing, yo.
Yeah.
She's a little harsh, but
she's very harsh.
Yeah, but she is very focused. That's what I like about her, and she is on point with a lot of stuff. And her thing was, she said, every white person is racist. She said,
wow,
because we are bred to believe that we are superior, even if it's just implied.
Wow.
Even if it's just implied. So the reason why we need white people, our white brothers and sisters, to engage us and get into the thick of this with us, have this conversation with us, is because it's the history of their race that we're wrestling with.
Yeah.
And how the history of our racial relations is impacting our present.
Wado Radio.